Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Back today with a message about self-love and self-care. And there was a profound sort of situation that happened over the last couple days, and there was something that I observed and that I've noticed, and I'm not sure if it's the eclipse influencing this recognition or, yes, actually, I'm going to answer my own question. Yes, 100%. I do think it's the eclipse influencing this recognition. But there was something that I observed, and it was so crazy when, you know how when you see something, you just can't unsee it anymore? Well, it was a situation of this individual who is living this life that is just so out of balance. It's so chaotic, so busy, so constantly go, go, go. And I was recognizing and observing this individual and how much they were struggling, how much, this person was having difficulty with really seeing and recognizing that they deserve to have a good life, that they deserve to have peace and joy and harmony in their life, that they deserve to have balance in their life. And I was seeing it was like puzzle pieces coming together. There was all this insight about how so much of this person's upbringing was, not was, but is continuously actually influencing their current reality and how much they are unable to just surpass that threshold that they have created within themselves. And it was kind of sad actually. Like I was just watching this person struggle so much, and it really, I try to help them understand that, if you want to be able to reach goals, if you want to bring balance back into your life, you have to be willing to say no. You have to be willing to overcome the entrapment of and the illusion of guilt. And I was seeing all of this because this person was just not able to say no to other people, and isn't, saying no to other people, constantly doing shit for other people and completely neglecting their own needs, completely neglecting the things that would bring them back into balance. And I was recognizing that, wow, like in this world, in today's world, if we want to become great, if we want to attain a truly peaceful, beautiful life, then we must be willing to be selfish. We must be willing to give up the feeling of guilt and recognize that it's just an illusion, because you're never going to get ahead in life if you're always just doing shit for other people, if you're always catering to what other people's needs are and what they want from you, and you're never going to be able to step into your own magnificence and your own light and your own being, because you're so busy fucking people pleasing constantly that you just get lost in that. It's such a trap. And I can see how this person is struggling, and I can see how, he's not able to be there for his family the way that they need, and his children are suffering as a result, and his spouse is suffering as a result. And it all stems from his lack of self-love. It all stems from his lack of self-awareness. For he doesn't realize that, he is the one creating and perpetuating this continuous problem, and he is the one who is not saying no to all those people that are constantly putting demands on his time. And work actually was another huge thing that I discussed with this person, because he wasn't recognizing how much his work was actually completely taking over his life. He doesn't even get paid well for it, and it's just draining the shit out of this man. And he works extremely long hours and has no life whatsoever, has no time for his personal hobbies, has no time for his children, has no time for his partner and to nurture that relationship and to help his partner feel like she has a partner, and this isn't about like a blame game. This is just simply acknowledging like where this person is and where they're struggling because of their past programming, because of their own personal beliefs of them not being good enough, of them not being worthy of this balanced, beautiful life. And I watched this man, struggling and not giving himself the opportunity to really reach for that joy, to experience it. And it just made me so sad. I'm like, oh my God, like I have to talk about this. I have to bring awareness to this, because if you're someone who is doing that same thing where you prioritize your work over everything else, and, especially if your work is something that, really drains you, if it's something that takes a lot out of you, then you have to be willing to see that, like, come on, this isn't balanced. This isn't normal. This isn't the way that we're supposed to be living. And it was interesting because when I said to him, I said, I think realistically, to be able to truly care for ourselves and to be able to love ourselves on a deep level and give ourselves what we need and meet our own needs, okay? Because we are the first person that is responsible for filling our own cup to make sure that we are happy and balanced and joyful and living that kind of a life, right? And I said, in order for that to happen, I said, you need to work about 4 hours a day, not 14, And he was like, oh, well, you don't get paid enough off of 4 hours of work. And I was like, you see, that right there, that limited thinking, that is exactly what is keeping you stuck. It is exactly what is perpetuating your issue. It is exactly the reason why you're not able to move forward and not able to get out of this karmic cycle that you've created for yourself. And it just goes around and around and around in it for years and years and years. And, it said something interesting to me. He's like, this whole adulting thing, he's like, it's getting real fucking old real fast. And I said, yeah, you know what it is? You know why it's getting old for you? Because you're not enjoying your life, because there's no balance in your life, because all you do is work. And then when you come home, of course there's things to do around the house. I mean, you got to run a household. There's things that need repairs. There's things that need upgrading or updating. There's a garage that needs cleaning out and organizing. Like, there's things that need to be done, and he doesn't have time to do any of it ever, because he's constantly working, because he's constantly putting himself in a position where he believes that he has to work his ass off in order to make this much money, to provide for his family. And it's false. That is an illusion. And there are options. And excuse me. And we went through the options, we discussed, I said, there's so many different things that you can do. And especially in today's world, I find there's just no excuse with the age of the internet, with the amount of information that we have available to us, with the amount of technology, the tools, the people with their knowledge, like everything that we have available to us. There is no excuse in today's world to not be making good money. No excuse. And the people that are not making good money are not making good money because they're still doing the 9 to 5. And everyone knows this. The 9 to 5 doesn't work. It just doesn't work. It's not realistic. It is not in balance with the natural flow of life, with the natural rhythm of life. And every single time that I look at my own self-care and that I look at my own personal, self-care routine and daily habits and the things that I do, the more I keep tweaking it, the more I'm adjusting it just slightly. Like, okay, let's do, I'll get up like a half an hour earlier and just keep pushing that rising time earlier and earlier until it's in full alignment with the actual natural cycle of the sun, right? Because that is what is true self-care, is for us to be in harmony with nature. We are natural beings living in a natural world. And if we don't take care of ourselves, and if we don't attune ourselves to the rhythm of this beautiful planet and to the rhythm of nature and the way she works and the clock that she operates by, then we're going to be out of balance. We are going to feel lost. We are going to feel disconnected, first and foremost from ourselves, because we have no time, and we are taking no time, or not taking the time at the appropriate time to give ourselves those things that we need. For example, I know for me personally, like, I've made it a personal goal that I want to be able to get up with the sunrise every single day. Every single day, I want to be up when the sun rises, and I want to greet the sun and see it, because there's actually scientifically proven, there's actually a certain, that light, when it hits the retina, when it enters the brain, it has a certain effect on your entire being, and it actually sets the tone and the mood for the entire day. So can you imagine? I mean, I know there's lots of people that get up at sunrise, but I wasn't one of them, and I haven't been one of those people. And it happens occasionally, and when I occasionally do get up with the sunrise, then I recognize how different I feel, how much more in alignment I feel, how much more in balance I feel, and in tune with the energy of life and with my own personal energy. It's like there's just this opening, like a window opens when we get up at sunrise and look into that sun and expose ourselves to that first light. It's life is so truly magical here on this planet, and I think if we learn the rhythm of the planet, then we are going to understand how to calibrate ourselves to that rhythm and bring ourselves to that level of peace and harmony. Because if you look at the natural functioning of this planet, it is peaceful and harmonious. These birds are not straining to fly. They're not straining to chirp. The trees and the grass is not straining to grow. Everything is just moving in its own beautiful timing and rhythm. There is no hindrance to that other than the hindrances we put upon nature, other than like with pollution and everything else that we do to it, and cutting down forests and stuff like that. Like, we are the ones actually putting nature out of balance because we ourselves are out of balance. And I think humanity's number one lesson is to bring ourselves back into balance and into harmony, and to allow yourself to go there, to allow yourself to feel what harmony feels like. Do you even feel worthy of that? And I asked him that yesterday. I said, do you even feel worthy of a balanced life? He was silent. I don't think he knew what to say. And he didn't know what to say because there was a recognition and there was an awareness. He was computing, I could tell. There was like processing, right? So there was something going on within him that I kind of awakened, something for him to think about. And that's awesome, and this is a family member. So it's like, I'm so happy, actually. And I feel so lucky to have these people in my life and to actually be able to offer them whatever I can offer them. Like, I feel actually like it was meant to be, like they're meant to be a part of my family so that I can guide them in certain ways. And of course, the guidance is always there, but it's always up to him to choose that guidance for himself as well. So but the recognition was huge, huge. And what I really wanted to share as well is that I'm really recognizing how you will never, never become successful if you do not care for yourself, if you do not love yourself, if you do not give yourself what you need first. Okay? Because this is what this person is struggling with the most. This is something I struggled with for an extremely long time, and I am still in the process of learning how to truly love and care for myself in a really beautiful way, and in a balanced way where I don't have to feel resentment towards anyone because I'm good, because I'm always filling my cup, because I feel happy, because I have time for myself to connect to myself, to pray, to meditate, to work out, to eat well, prepare good meals. Like, these are things that are important for me. And if I don't have time to do these things, I get really out of balance and I get really, frustrated and annoyed and things like that, which is normal. It's normal. That's my body telling me and indicating to me, like, hey, you need to bring things back into order and, take time for yourself. Because every time I don't, I always pay the price. There's always consequences to that. And the other thing I'm recognizing is that with my work too, like, I had to choose because I already chose it. I had to choose work that was in alignment with me, that was, fulfilling for me and uplifting and nurturing for my soul, because we go through cycles, right? Just like this planet, just like nature, we go through cycles. And if you don't follow your own cycle, when your body and your mind and your soul is screaming to you and it's saying, enough. I'm tired of this situation. I'm tired of living this way. I'm tired of this job. I'm tired of whatever it is that you're tired of. And when you don't listen to those cues, because they come up and they're there and they're trying to bring awareness for you to shift and change and start to take a stand for yourself. When you don't do that and you ignore and keep doing that, ignoring for long periods of time, what you end up doing is creating illness within your own body, because eventually the body can't sustain that constant suppression, that constant feeling of lack. It just wants more because the body innately knows that it deserves more. So it's just the mind that has to get on board with it. So listen to your bodies. I always talk about this with my clients and I always explain this to them. The body is so incredibly wise. And when we listen to it, when we tune into it and allow ourselves to just hear what the body has to say, you're going to find out very quickly whether you're in alignment with the things that you're currently doing or with the people that you're around or with the job that you're working or whatever it is or not. You're just going to know. And and I'm near a park and I'm hoping that the mic is not picking it up too much, but there's a lot of cute little children screaming and running around at the park very close to my house here. So, but it's such a beautiful day. I just had to get outside. I had to do this filming outside. Like it's finally, I almost said beach weather. It's not beach weather yet, but it is definitely a beautiful day. Here we had a whole entire week of rain last week, so I was just so excited for the sunshine that I had to get outside and do the filming here. So yeah, but pay attention to yourself and to your body and to your soul. Allow it to speak to you, allow it to convey whatever it is trying to convey, and listen. Please listen, because as I was talking to, like I said, this person, um, they were telling me just how exhausted and tired they felt and how run down they felt and just like, oh, there's never time for anything. It's like, yeah, because you don't make time. It was like, it was so frustrating actually to sort of witness it because I felt like they were just coming up with excuse after excuse of why they were not going to take care of themselves. And at the end of the day, I called bullshit because I said, listen, man, what it all comes down to is you. You are the driver of your ship. You are the person in power. You are the person that has to decide, and you are the authority of your life. You have to be the one willing to open your mouth and just say no if it doesn't fit into the agenda or if it doesn't fit into your self-care routine, then it doesn't fit. And there's something to be said for assertiveness, and you can do assertiveness in a kind way. And I think the more that we push back on people, especially when it comes to family, because family is always like the number one, right? That will expect things of us, right? A family member will always just, well, you should be doing this for me if I asked you. Well, no, I shouldn't, right? Because we're all just people. And if I'm not capable, I'm not able, I don't have the time, or I just don't have the energy, or I don't have the desire to really be able to help you, then I'm not going to do that because that's going against myself. That's being, that would be inauthentic of me to say yes to something that I desire to say no to, right? And authenticity was something that we also discussed, yesterday. And there was a lot of things I talked about, but I don't know how much got through, but it's certainly, and I totally have compassion and understanding for this person. Like I get it, I understand it's difficult to change, especially when you're past your 40s. It can be increasingly harder and harder to change who you are fundamentally, on the inside, and to unprogram your negative programming and your beliefs, right? But my God, if you don't work on that, like it's not impossible. Just because we're older, it's not impossible to change. It is a matter of desire and it is a matter of willpower. That's really what it comes down to. It wasn't easy for me to change either, but I did. And I made a lot of huge changes in my life that, are behind the scenes that people don't even know, in order to get myself to where I am now. And that was a really difficult process, but one that was so worthy because it's like, now I see it, now I recognize, now I can bring myself back into balance. Now I always know and I always feel when I'm out of balance. I know right away. And now my intuition is so spot on, like I know exactly what I need in any given moment too. I can recognize it and I can feel it within myself. So it's just a journey to get there, but you have to be willing to go there. And the sooner you can recognize that without balance, you will not have success in life. You will not have good health. You will not have good mental health. You will not have good spiritual health. You will not be authentic and assertive and truly yourself. You are just not going to be able to embody any of those things if you are not allowing yourself to give yourself that space and that time. So I encourage you to give yourself the time, give yourself the guilt-free space to develop a really awesome self-care routine and love yourself first and foremost, because nobody outside of you is going to love yourself as much as you love yourself first and foremost. And if you do that, and if you learn how to do that, then nothing is going to rock your world. Nothing. You're going to be so solid because you've built this foundation within yourself, and the foundation is based on love. There's nothing more powerful than love. So that's where it begins, is taking care of your own needs first and making sure that you are balanced, you are happy, that your schedule is balanced, that it allows for you to have free time, allows for you to have time with your children, it allows for you to have time for your hobbies and for the things that you're interested in. Because my God, life is too short, guys. And if we don't do this for ourselves, then we're never going to really, truly succeed in any area of our life. None of them. None of them. And this is why we see so much illness and so much unhappiness and depression and anxiety in the world, is because people aren't slowing down. They're not giving themselves the time and the space that they need to really nurture themselves, their soul, their body, their mind, their heart. And without it, like, chaos ensues. So, it's up to you to decide whether you want to continue living in chaos or whether you are ready to start saying no to some people. And, sometimes, and I explained this to him actually, sometimes we just have to say no for a period of time until we get ourselves kind of settled and organized and get ourselves into this rhythm of self-care and self-love. And then once you do, and once you've like really mastered filling your own cup and bringing yourself to that good place and figuring out all the different things that nurture you, that make you really feel good, then afterwards you can give lots of time, and so much more time actually, and energy to other people, to support them, to help them out in whatever way they need, because you've taken care of you. But until you do that, you're not going to be able to take care of other people. You're not going to be able to support other people. And when you do, it'll most likely be half-assed. You're going to feel like shit about it and probably have some resentment because, oh, there we go. Now again, I didn't have time for me because I was too busy catering to everyone else's needs and what everyone else wanted of me. So keep this in mind, because life is way too short, guys, to just constantly be giving to others and never giving to ourselves. Without it, there is truly no balance. Without balance, there's no happiness. Without happiness, there's no joy, and there's no love. And without love, what do we have? A mediocre life that we're just going through, Groundhog Day, day in and day out. And eventually you just get bitter and resentful and you start hating your life. And that's a terrible way to raise children, and that's a terrible way to live. Life is beautiful and precious. I think we should act like it is. So, and it starts with you, and it starts with me doing these things for myself. So that's it. That's my little rant on self-care and self-love. And I thank you so much for tuning in, for watching. Thanks for being here with me. And I hope you took something away from this message. And I hope something resonated deeply within your soul. And you are now more motivated to really take care of you first. Okay? Because this really needs to happen. The more that it happens and the more of us that do this, the more joy and love is going to elevate in this world. So thanks again for tuning in, guys, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.